my name's Ellie, welcome to my channel. We're doing more makeup. Today I want to play with the Prism palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I've been back at work for 3 weeks now, and I've been using a lot of my Project Pan makeup, and in doing that, I see, my face in the mirror more, because there are more mirrors around at work. I don't know, apparently I'm just paying attention to my face in the mirror. But I'll see things, and I'll be like, ooh, I wonder if I can pair this. So I'll see the shadows on my eyes, and I'll be like, I like what I did, but what about this? But what about this? And so I've been coming home and playing with that, and I've also started thinking about color combinations and other things. So I want to do kind of a cool toned look, and normally if I'm using Dimension, I go in with Osiris, because they're just a really logical pair for me. But I want to use Throne and Dimension today, and make just like a really nice green and lilac thing. I have some shadows that I know I'm going to pan eventually, and I've started thinking about ways I could preemptively pair them together. And one of them is that I have a couple shades that are like lilac-y purple gold duochromes, and I have some really, really nice olive greens and like deep forest greens, and I think they're going to look awesome together. And one of the things that I thought I'd do is test that out. I'm going to start with Lure just because I want it to be a cool toned crease. And Lure is real pretty, real pigmented. I've had a weird week. My car broke on Tuesday. Like, I drove it all the way to work, and I parked it, and I was like getting my stuff ready before I turned the engine off, and it started spewing white smoke out of the AC vents. And I turned it off, and it didn't stop. And I looked out, and there's, green fluid running down the hill from my car, and I called my mom, and I'm like, should I be worried that my car's gonna set fire, or can I, go into work for a while? Like, what? I'm already here, so I feel a little silly, but also, does it need to go to a tow place right away, or can we do it this afternoon? She said that in theory it's not a problem, so I worked my day, and we had a tow truck meet us when I got off, and had to call around and see who was open, and had time to look at my car. Ended up taking it to a mechanic that my dad had used a lot in our area, because the mechanic I normally use, they were open, but they were, in order to do the social distancing, they were keeping not as many people in the shop, which makes sense. No. I had a thought. It's a bad idea. Tempted to pop Eden in with Lure and, add some pinkiness, but I think I can't be trusted, and that if I mix Eden and Lure, something in the base tones will make badness. Too much cool in one, too much warm in another. But later, when I don't have, needs for my face, we'll try it. So, took it to him, was getting a ride to work, got a call that it's a $1,500 repair because my heater core is broken, and my car's old and shitty and not worth much. So my mom started making the case that we should just, instead of sinking $1,500 into a car that's probably not even worth $2,000, we should look at getting me another car that's more reliable. Not that my car is not pretty reliable. It's just once every 6 months to a year it has something. Something goes wrong, and generally it's a car stopping thing. And since I work during the week, I don't have a lot of free time to just be like, yeah, take my car for 3 days and dick around on it. I've been taking Parallel to deepen my crease, by the way. And I don't have, or at the time I didn't have a second car to, put my car in the shop during the week and then still be able to drive myself to work and around town. And my parents have cars I could borrow, but they're almost all of them are stick shifts. The only one that isn't is a big Suburban that they use for construction that they need. I can't just yoink it without knowing what they're doing project-wise during the week and whether or not they'll need the space that they normally have in the Suburban. That is a very nice crease, by the way. I love Lure. I love tones like Lure. So pretty. Okay, throne, dimension. So I'm, not happy, and since my car does have moderately big brakes every year or so, I've sunk a decent amount into her already. Not normally as big as $1,500, but enough that every time I'm like, ooh, I have some extra money, I'm finally getting some savings put together, we're gonna be good, I'm gonna be able to, plan a repair, because there's several things that are wrong, but not like stop the car wrong, that I would like to fix at some point, but I have to have the money, have cushion, have time, and when those things start to happen, something else will break, and it'll eat up the money that I started to put towards being prepared for a repair. And then I'm back to like, well, now I have to start saving again for a different repair. But I have emotional attachment to my car, because it's the car I learned to drive on, it's the car I went away to college on, it's the car I took on all my road trips when I was doing a ton of road trips. It's my baby, and she's an ugly, shitty old car, but she's my ugly, shitty old car, and she's got a decently big interior and a really good trunk, so I don't need to do as much of like, oh, I can only take this many trips for this, or like, when I moved into my dorm, we shoved pretty much everything into the back seat of my car, and we were good. Like, I brought furniture to my dorm, and it fit. I still love that car. But my mom made a good enough case, and we started poking around, and then I started thinking about the things I could have. I would like a Jeep. I didn't get a Jeep. Particularly because the type of Jeep I would want is more than I was willing to spend, or I could get like a really, really shitty Jeep that would be even less reliable than my Buick. And have spent more money than the repair on a car that's going to need just as much, if not more, done to it than the car I have. So, I happened to find a Mazda Tribute that was a nice medium-sized thing, more clearance than my Buick, because I would like a little bit more clearance. I would like the ability to like take it camping and potentially drive on shitty dirt roads and even off-road a little bit, which the Buick has been off-road, not for plans and not for like long-term going through creeks or anything, but she's gotten into some mischief. So I saw it was in my price range, I called out, I talked to one of my friends who's, he's home for now, he's gonna start working next week, and I was like, hey, you're a mechanic, do you want to come look at this car with me and see what's going on? Make a time, go out and do it, drive the car. Really, really like the car, actually. Like, it's a second-hand used car, it's not a new car, but it was very well maintained. They did some nice stuff to it. It drives really well. It's got more space. And as I'm talking to, it's a repair shop who bought the car off a customer because they didn't want it anymore. They were moving, and they kind of cleaned it up a little bit and were reselling it. And we're talking about why I'm looking for a car, because I took it out with my mom, and then my dad went out to drive it on his own just to get his own opinions, because he knows car stuff. I don't know. Whereas I'm just like, I like it, it runs. And he's looking for things that he knows by feel and sound a little bit more than I do. And I've been desensitized because my Buick makes a bunch of sounds. Not all of which mean anything, just that it makes sounds because it's an old car and it clunks and bumps and stuff. But while we were waiting for him to come back from his test drive, we're talking to the guy selling the car about what's wrong with my Buick and what we're doing that. Turns out that he can do the same repair the other mechanic quoted us for a third of the price. And even then, there's a workaround that we could use until winter, because you can bypass the heater core and just not have heat, which you don't need in the summer, because it is the summer here. And so we could put that off, fix the Buick, and now we get to decide if I want to have 2 cars or if I want to put a little extra work into it and then sell it for something. Neither of which are super pressing, because my friend who's a mechanic actually forgot that he was supposed to meet me there and look at the car. So I made time to come back, put a deposit down, and was going to come back on Friday being like, unless he says something is going to explode in this car, I'm probably buying this car. But it gave me time to think on it and look up reviews about the place, and it turned out really pretty. Turns out my friend said, well, if it drives nice and feels nice, it's probably as good as you're going to get. So I don't even need to come look at it. So we went back and acquired it. So now I have a new to me car. It's quite nice. We took it around, we took it up to a lake because we were killing some time before picking up food to celebrate my new car. And, took it on the highway that we'd already done, but took it on like a longer highway drive, and she drives really nicely. So I'm excited. I have a new car. I feel like there's a whole bunch of stuff I'd be excited to do with my new car if anything was open. We can't really go anywhere, even like going up to the lake. There are people around, so we had to like stay certain feet away from people and be like, well, it'd be nice to go play in the sand, but it's full over there, and it'd be nice to go down here, but no, okay. I'm going to take a little bit of Lucid on my inner corner, and then the eyes will pretty much be done. So, that was my week, looking at cars, finding out that there are elaborate car schemes on, like, where someone will try to trick you into buying a car and paying for delivery and stuff, having never seen or driven the car, and it's just a scam to get your money. Which, did I respond anyway, just in case it wasn't a scam? Yes. I wanted it. I have the optimism. I was like, well, shooting an email isn't going to kill me. I'm sure as fuck not going through the steps to order this car. I was like, in case it's not a scam, can I come see this car? No, I could not, because it was a scam. But they didn't get anything out of me than, like, losing 10 minutes being excited about a car. Yeah, so I have a new car. I've driven it, Dad's driven it, took my neighbor around in it. We're potentially going to do a distance visit with my sister and her kids soon. We go and sit on opposite sides of the fence and talk to each other through the fence. Check in with my niece and nephew. I'm also looking into, so my boyfriend has a lovely, lovely dog. So this is, the eye look is done. Isn't that nice? Isn't that pretty? I like when the things that I think are going to be pretty turn out being pretty. But we gotta get some of the fallout off my face. But my boyfriend has a very sweet dog, and when it's safe and we can go do stuff, I would like to go camping and stuff with him and the dog. But she is getting older, so I also thought it'd be nice to have a more stable way for her to ride in the back seat. So I'm looking at car hammocks for like second row seats that'll like stop her from falling off the front and give her somewhere nice to sit. And then if we do go somewhere and she like swims in a lake and wants to get in the back seat, they make ones that are protective so that her wet dog smell would not soak into the seats. If you have one, let me know how it works, because I'm interested, I'm curious, and if you have pros and cons. It seems pretty straightforward, but there might be things I don't know about until I get one. I'm like, oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. Okay, Franken bronzer. So I'm feeling weird and more poor than I was 2 days ago. It's also very weird going, like, to make a cash transaction, because I asked him, I was like, hey, do you prefer, like, I have a debit card, or do you want me to stop and get cash? And he's like, well, if you get cash, we don't have to pay for the transaction fee. And I'm like, okay, I guess it's cash. It's very weird bringing a large chunk of change in cash. Makes me feel because I've never had to have more than, like, even for anything over 100 or two, I don't think I've ever used cash for, because I don't normally keep that much on me. I don't, like, pay rent in cash or buy cars. This is my first time really buying a car. Technically, I bought the car I have from my parents, but in that I bought it, we wrote up a bill of sale of, like, $50 or something. I have a car. Oh, but now I have to go and get it registered and insured and get plates for it, and that sounds not fun. So I'm gonna have to find out. I know DMVs used to be, at least one of the DMVs near me used to be open until 7 on the weeks, and I don't think that'll be the case with our current situation and COVID-19 and all that, but I gotta register my car, because I don't want to get pulled over. Especially when I'm having such a good time. She's real fun. And since we drove her around long enough, we've done an over 30-minute drive on the highway, so she is decently reliable. Time to use blushes. So, Argyle and Hot Mama. Again, also making good progress on these because I can use them pretty generously. It was like, grateful's not the word. What's the other one? Yeah, being back at work has made a lot of impact into my panning products. Like, I was already doing what felt like a good job on blush and stuff, but I started hitting pan in, like, my Franken shadows, and I hit pan in that blush. I started thinking about some of the singles I want to start looking at as things go through, because I feel like, I think if I try, I can use these eyeshadows pretty quickly. I didn't put a ton of product in them, and I didn't press them super hard. We're just going to put a little extra blush over here while doing that, so that we hope that nothing looks horrible, but it's really hard to do it and hold your hair out of the way. Which, my hair is kind of doing a thing today, so I didn't want to put it up in case it would fuck it up. But I finally found some root lifter, acquired that, so then I put that on and then did my hair, and it looks like I have some volume now. I'm quite proud of that. Eventually, I will learn how to do a basic hairstyle on myself. It'll be great. Oh, I do like how this eye turned out. I really wanted to do just, like, shades of green, but I'm like, I did that not that long ago, and I feel like I've been putting green in a lot of looks, and that's probably because there's green leaves everywhere, and I see it, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, green's a pretty color. But I have other things. And since the weekends are when I'm going to use other makeup than what I'm panning and make videos for you guys, seems like I should do a variety of looks. At least a normal person would think that. Oh. So, I've been filming stuff, and processing it up to YouTube. And not posting it because I keep forgetting to open up my laptop and just finalize the video and schedule it. So I'm going to put this one up, and then you will see the other videos that I made will go up over the next few weeks. And you'll have them, but here's me apologizing for the fact that I disappeared for several weeks, despite the fact that I made videos during that time. And I even had the footage decently alright, and I got it on YouTube, and then I just never finished scheduling the fucking video, so sorry. I'm an asshole. Between going back to work and car stuff and trying to get back in the habit of, like, prepping food and making a plan for the week and realizing that I don't have all day to just do stuff because I'm not furloughed anymore. And I learned a new job at work in order to help out. So my brain has been not all in it. It's not been super participatory. I'm getting there. I feel like I'm finally starting to really get a grasp on the job I'm doing and where all the stuff is and answering patient questions and whatnot. It's just, the brain's tired. And it's not even like a very complicated thing. It's just the brain's like, no, we don't learn new things anymore. We're done with that. We're tired. Or if I have to deal with a complicated insurance or an unhappy patient, that takes some of my spoons. It takes my spoons. If you guys know about the whole, you start the day with so many spoons and each task takes certain spoons, and sometimes you're just out of spoons. Not everybody starts with the same amount. Not every task takes the same amount of spoons for everybody, so that's what you get. I do feel like I finally have something happening. I'm not sure how long it's going to last, because my hair will fall eventually, but if I just keep doing things to it, maybe it'll stay medium-sized. Because this isn't big for me. Actually, no, this is big for me. It's not big for anybody who has actual texture or volume in their hair. My hair doesn't do anything. And I have not quite gotten my morning routine to the point that I can do this to my hair during a weekday. So, eventually I hope to get there so we can have nice styled hair. It doesn't take a ton of time, it just takes more time than I've set aside for it. I've factored in the time of washing my hair and putting like some leave-in products in it, but I haven't put in styling time because I can just put it up, let it air dry, and it's fine. And then I still have to go to work and like put a mask over it and stuff like that. So haven't left the house, so I haven't had to wear a mask yet today. I feel like I might hit pan on that brow shade sometime soon, but I felt that for a while. These are very deep pans. I do also have a ton of progress on this. I have like a day's worth left of Lucky Clover, and everything else is done. So we are real fucking close. So guess what we're using today? Lucky Clover. We're doing great. And I kind of wish that Anastasia had just at some point done like Kat Von D did and make this a refillable palette and sell singles as refills. Because I like most of these shades, but like everybody, we have preferences. I know if people had been able to buy like a single of Pink Heart instead of the whole palette, oh, they would have. Singles and like Pink Heart are really, really approachable. Pink Heart is like a pink duochrome is the easiest to wear and feel not so out there. And when people were doing reviews when this palette was super big, everybody was like, oh yeah, and I already have Pan and Pink Heart, or like Pink Heart's my favorite, and it's nice, and it is the one that I was the most comfortable wearing at work until I got over it. And they all have their uses, but if this was refillable, I could have popped things in as we went, or I could have gone for just the shades that appealed to me, or so many options. I feel like it would have potentially made the Moonchild Glow Kit more of a long-term option. I feel like it kind of burnt itself out and nobody's really talking about it anymore because they've either decluttered it or panned it or they were never that interested. I also broke my brush, my fan. I need to fix that soon. This whole thing is kind of a mess, so. I got a different fan, and then I broke that one. So maybe I just need to get a better fan that is sturdier, that isn't some cheap corner of a World Market store type thing that they sell specifically to people like me who are like, ooh, it's colorful, and then doesn't have any long-term goal to stay functional. And look at that, look at that. Then we've got this one that detached a long time ago. It goes up here. It's just, it's not super sturdy. I guess I should be happy that it's lasted this long, but I wanted it to last forever. I just want everything to last forever. I hoped that I never had to buy another car or get rid of the Buick because I like the Buick. I'm happier now that I found a car in my price range that I like a lot. But even then, deciding if I want to keep or sell the Buick, like do I want to keep it as a second car for when I need stuff, because I'd have to insure both, and I'd have to, you know, throughout time do things to the Buick. And there's probably like, but I have to sell it? But it's my car. She's my baby. She's gone so many places with me. She kept me alive. First time I went to visit my first boyfriend, and it was snowing and icy, and I went off the road and got stuck in a ditch for a couple hours. She kept me alive. She was warm, her heat was still running. The only issue really was that she was in the ditch and I had to have somebody come get her out, and then as soon as she was out of the ditch, I continued driving. She's my baby. So I'm sad that I'm most likely going to come to the term that I have to just sell her because I don't really have a need for two cars. Like, it's not like, oh, and we can keep, there's no space for two extra cars in our garage. Actually, there's no space for my car in the garage as is, let alone another one. It's not like I would reasonably lend it out to anybody. Nobody would want it. Of my friends and family, nobody would need to use that car. She'd be a good shitty car for, you know, high school or college student. She was a really good shitty car for a high school and college student. Man, now I'm giving myself feelings about my car. It was supposed to be just I did a happy thing and managed to find and buy a car I like. Instead I'm having sad feelings about letting go of my other car. Even though she's tried to die on me several times. Like, technically, the engine hasn't imploded. That's the whole thing everybody says about my cars. They're like, yeah, this and that'll break and, you know, stuff will rust out, but apparently the joke is that the engine is good, which I have never had an issue with the engine. the engine is going to run until the end of time, and the body would rust away to nothing before the engine would stop working. I don't think our transmission's ever been an issue either. We've had brake issues, we've had caliper issues. Muffler? I replaced the muffler. Power steering stuff. I feel like I should have kept better track of the things that went wrong before I started doing the repairs. They're in a folder somewhere. But since I don't know really anything about the inner workings of a car, people say stuff like, oh yeah, this is broken. I'm like, yep, that sounds like a car part. I do know where my brake fluid is, so I can fill that when it had a leak and I was trying to make it go until we could get to a place to repair it. I do know how to add power steering fluid. Check my oil, add my oil, where to add coolant. We were having a thing, we were trying to remember all the different car things that we knew, and I knew those. I can change a tire. I don't want to change a tire. I should put on a lipstick. I feel like now is a good time for just a nude with so much happening up here and it being kind of smoky. I will line my lips though. That'll help it. I'm going to use Sandstorm. I didn't really pay attention to why people would put lip liner under a lip gloss until I realized that it acts as like an edge buffer. And kind of stops the lip gloss from bleeding out of your lips like a lot of them do. So I'm trying to get used to doing it. So, I am, in theory, going to do my monthly check-in tomorrow. So you'll see some of the stuff that I did and feel good. So this is Fussy from Fenty, and that is the look. I feel pretty and cool-toned and adulty, and I have another car. I'm excited. I'm having a lot of fun. It's weird the amount of people are like, oh, you got a new car? Can I come see it? Oh, I hear you got a new car. So I didn't really think that many people would care, but new car. I feel like I should go do something in a state park, but we're not allowed to go anywhere. And I don't want to get... I'm trying not to spread or acquire anything. I'm being good. I'm gonna go mess with my cat because she's asleep on the bed and she has been asleep for too long. So I must roust her with mischief. Thank you guys. I will see you next time. And hopefully everybody's staying safe and dealing with stuff and has tips on how to deal with just the weird crushing adultness of buying a car. I'll see you later.